Hi everyone, I want to make a video called Conservatives Have Been Silenced about something that, of course, I've been feeling and so on. Now, within anti feminism, there are many different fractions of anti feminists. Anti feminism is extremely diverse, and I'm not trying to downplay that, but for the purpose of simplicity, I'm going to separate anti feminists in this video into two groups. Um, One group would be, I'm going to call them liberal anti feminists, and the other group, I'm going to call them conservative anti feminists. And I know that most people are probably in between, or they agree with things from here and there, and it's not about politics or conservative or liberalism. I'm going to try to explain everything, but please watch till the end of the video to understand my exact opinion, hopefully, on this topic. Okay, so within anti-feminism, you have liberal anti-feminists and you have conservative anti-feminists. Liberal anti-feminists are the group that I'm going to say is they they are mostly, in their heart of hearts, they are egalitarians. So they believe in egalitarianism, they believe in equality, and they are upset with feminism because of the fem in feminism. Feminism to them is sexist because it doesn't consider the side of things from the male perspective. It only considers equality from the female perspective. So feminism is overly concerned with what women want, and it is not enough concerned with what men want in order to achieve equality. These are egalitarians. So they can be defined by, they believe that feminism is sexist. That is the definition that defines the liberal anti-feminist, right? I know within there are a lot of fractions. Some believe that men are more oppressed than women. Some believe that women are more oppressed, but still men need to be considered. There's all sorts of things going on there. But I'm just saying, in general, egalitarianism is one type of anti-feminist. The other type of anti-feminist, who I'm going to call today conservative anti feminists. These people believe that men and women are not the same, and therefore seeking equality between two entities that are not the same is illogical. It doesn't make sense. It's futile. So uh, conservative anti-feminists are not concerned with equality between the sexes, and the reason they are not concerned with equality between the sexes is because they think that fundamentally men and women are not the same, and so therefore equality between these two entities would be unjust. Actual justice would be inequality in a sense, and we don't need to seek justice any more than we have today between the genders, because they're not equal. They cannot be expected to do the same things, and they cannot be expected to behave in the same exact ways. So it is the equivalent of what they are trying to say is or we are trying to say, because I also consider myself also a conservative anti-feminist, is that but I'm not so I feel, even that's the point of this video, I feel ashamed to say I'm a conservative anti-feminist, because I know that when you say that, you're associated with a lot of things that, like being backwards, not having thought out things. But anyway, so to conservative anti-feminists, it is the same as if you are saying a kindergartner and a university student should be able to sit the same test. We should give them the same test. And if the kindergartner fails, we'll say that one is stupid. And if the university student excels, we'll say that one is smart. The point is that when the genders are different, they cannot be judged on the same thing. So they're different, and that should be celebrated, acknowledged, and therefore we should not expect equality between the sexes, because there never will be equality between the sexes. We don't need equality between the sexes, and we can be completely happy without equality between the sexes. Okay, so which brings me to the point of this video. So I want to say that I think that conservative anti-feminists have been silenced by shame, have been shamed into silence by the culture which surrounds us, right? Because the current culture is very liberal. Well, yeah, of course. And in a sense, rightly so, because liberalism is something like how one of the other women in the group, described it as growing pains. As technology advances, we have to become more and more liberal because the technology changes. So the culture around us is very liberal, and we've gone through a lot of changes historically. So, and a lot of those changes have had to do with equality of opportunity. So, for example, in the past, we had, let's go back all the way to racism and slavery and racism. Let's take racism. We had racism. This had to change. The grounds for that change was to say, equality. And everybody today can agree with that. Then we have LGBT rights. The grounds for the changes that had to be made, to allow them to marry and so on, and exist really without persecution, is it would have been equality. So liberal culture is, one, very concerned with equality, and two, it is the dominant culture, right? And the way in which they got society to change their minds on all of these points was through shame. So for a long time, we've been shaming people who don't agree with equality, especially equality of opportunity. But women and men today mostly have equality of opportunity, at least legally speaking. But socially, we don't all have exactly same opportunities, because yes, there are people in societies who see men and women as different, conservatives, right? So this shame is actually quite heavy because I mean, in a sense, society has had to change, and yeah, society has had to become more equal with respect to things like racism, LGBTQ rights, being non-religious, and so on and so on. The list is extremely long, and so it seems like if gender is just one of these things as well, that we have to accept as something that we're going to change, that is going to, that we're equal and there is no difference between men and women, and so on and so on. And so I think that conservative anti feminists are silenced, and they are quiet, and they're not speaking out because of this immense amount of shame that comes from history, and is associated with all the other groups, and then is now being used in the case of gender. However, I believe, and I might be wrong, and I feel even ashamed to say it, but I do believe that when we speak about gender, men and women are different, and there can be a biological basis for that argument, that men and women are just genuinely different. Even if we don't go into detail and we say, okay, feminists, you're right, every man and woman is different, and we can't judge them as a group, and so on and so on. Even if we don't go into detail like that, I think, as I said before in another video, the fundamental difference between men and women just being that women carry children and breastfeed and men cannot, that creates already, I think, a lot of room for the fact that men and women are inclined to make different choices in society, and therefore are inclined to be different. And therefore, I think it is okay to say we're going to accept this difference. Not in all cases. Yes, there are men and women who want to be equal, egalitarians. That's fine. Yes, there are going to be, of course, women who don't want to have children and stuff like this. That, I mean, well, the majority now anyway, uh, and so on and so on. But the point is that this shame that is stopping people who think conservatively on this topic from speaking out is a lot. And I hope that eventually egalitarian, liberal, anti-feminists could come to a place where they stop using that shame, because the shame is used, I believe, is weaponized against people who see the genders as different but equal in value. And I don't know where society is going, but I just wanted to make such a video because also sometimes I think you, and maybe I don't know what you think, but I, as an let's say a more conservative anti-feminist, you feel like you're going crazy, and if you're the only one, so I'm gonna make a video to say, I also, and I'm asking, if you are, if you agree with anything that I'm saying, please like this video, also for algorithms and so on. But please like this video so that I can get an indication of whether or not people actually do feel this. Are there conservative anti-feminists out there, or is it only liberal anti-feminists? Because right now I have the feeling that it seems like there are only more liberal anti-feminists out there, because in terms of the liberal sense, it is no problem for people to go out and say, I'm a liberal, da da da. I don't like feminism because it's sexist, because this is based on something that is very important in society, which is based on equality. So the MRA type woman and the women against feminism who are egalitarian do not have any shame in saying what they're saying, because the basis of their argument is basically still we need equality, which is something that has not been shamed in society, and in fact it has been elevated as the good moral great position. Whereas conservative anti-feminists who do not seek equality at all, the basis of their argument is really that we don't need equality because we're different. And that is something that has been shamed, because you can't say that the races are different and therefore don't need equality. You can't say that humans who have different sexualities are different and don't need equality. These are things that are considered to be inconsiderate, hurtful, bigoted, backwards, blindly religious, or something like this, and basically caveman thinking, right? So because we can't say those things, then it's assumed that you can't say that with gender as well. And to be honest, I understand the argument that you can't say that with gender, because there are going to be people in society who want to be equal, who want egalitarianism, and it's important for them that they have equality of opportunity. That makes sense. And so I agree with that. But we already have that. We have equality of opportunity. And maybe, just maybe, between men and women, there are also people within society who believe that men and women are so different, both men and women maybe believe this, that they don't need equality between the sexes. And if that is true, but conservatives have been completely silenced by the history of everything, then at some point, these people who do believe that, hey, men and women are different and don't need to be equal or have the same, the structure of society does not have to make it that men and women do the exact same things or equal, no, only that they have the opportunity, but not more. Then to, of course, accommodate the people who need, you know, then maybe if those people speak out, then maybe something can change. I don't know. I hope this video made sense. Of course, I don't want to make it too long. And thanks for listening. So, in summary, what I'm saying is that, conservative anti-feminists, we are associated with like racist, anti-LGBT, backwards, extreme religion, and all this negativity that has come out of history. And because in order to fight that negativity, we had to use shame to silence people, through shame and through the weaponized use of equality being important, and that you can't say that different factions of people are different and therefore don't deserve equality. Then we associate this as well with gender, and I'm wondering, is it exactly the same? Because there are biological, uh, or biology based reasons to say that men and women are generally different. I'm not saying that every man and woman would fall into that. Of course, there are going to be parts of society that want to be completely equal, or women who want to be like men and men who want to be like women, and all these things will exist. But maybe in general, there are also big groups of people, of women and of men, who see themselves as different and okay with not being equal, but actually, and I think that maybe these people exist because how else, I mean, I think these people end up in churches and so on, and I guess, so yeah, tell me, do conservative anti-feminists exist? Are they silenced?